1 year later, Jordan stood in his office, staring out the window. His body had healed, but some nights he still woke up gasping, heart pounding with the memory of Esther's blood on his hands. Naomi entered quietly. "You ready?" she asked. He nodded. "Let's do this." They walked together into the press conference. The Lang Foundation was about to announce a new case one that echoed their own story. A wealthy child missing, trusted caregiver suspected. After the event, Jordan and Naomi sat in their parents' old study, now restored and filled with family photos. "She would have been proud," Naomi whispered. Jordan nodded. Both of them would. A knock. Esther stood in the doorway. "I got something," she said, holding up an old envelope. "From a private investigator, it's about Mrs. Chen's past. Something doesn't add up." Jordan took the file. Inside were photos of Mrs. Chen with another child, a baby, and a birth certificate. "She had a daughter," Naomi said, confused. Jordan's face darkened. "Or maybe ... a weapon. Someone she trained before Esther, someone still out there." Esther's voice shook. "Her name is May." Jordan clenched his jaw. "Then we find her, before she finishes what Mrs. Chen started." Esther sat down slowly, her face pale. "I didn't know," she whispered. "Mrs. Chen never told me she had a daughter. But this," she pointed to the photo. "This girl. She was raised in the shadows." Naomi looked closer. "Where is she now?" Jordan flipped to the last page of the file. "A rural village outside Macau. No recent records, no digital footprint. But there's a rumor she changed her name." Esther nodded. "I can go. She won't know me. If she's anything like her mother, she'll be suspicious of you too." "No," Jordan said. "If this woman is even half as dangerous as Mrs. Chen, I'm not letting anyone go alone." "I'll go too," Naomi added. "We're not splitting." Up again, Jordan glanced between them and nodded. "We leave tomorrow." 2 days later, Muck Village was quiet, mist curling around narrow streets. Jordan, Naomi, and Esther followed the path to a small herbal shop. Inside, an older woman sat grinding roots. She looked up slowly. "You came," she said calmly. "I've been expecting you." Jordan froze. "You're May." She stood, her eyes cold and calculating. "My mother spoke of you." "The boy who?" "Broke her heart. The traitor niece. The lost sister." "She murdered our parents," Naomi said sharply. "She did what she had to do," May replied. "And I will finish her work." Suddenly, the back door creaked. 2 men stepped in, armed. Jordan stepped in front of Naomi. "Run," he whispered. But Naomi stayed. "We end this here." May smiled. "And die, like your parents." She raised a hidden blade, but Esther was faster, grabbing a heavy jar and slamming it into May's arm. The blade fell, a struggle broke out. Jordan tackled one guard. Naomi fought the other. Esther wrestled May to the ground. "You're not your mother," she said, panting. "You can stop." But May screamed, eyes wild. "I am everything she made me." Outside, police sirens wailed. Naomi had triggered the emergency tracker on her watch. The local authorities stormed in, arresting May and her men. Jordan, breathing hard, looked at Esther and Naomi. "It's over," he whispered. Naomi shook her head. "No, it's just beginning." Back at the hotel, the silence was heavy. Esther sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her shaking hands. Naomi paced the room. Jordan stood by the window, watching the rain fall over the city. "She looked like Mrs. Chen," Esther whispered. "Same eyes, same rage." Jordan turned. "But she's not invincible." "We stopped her." Naomi folded her arms. "For now. She'll be transferred to a maximum security prison by morning." "But what if she has more people out there?" Jordan's phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. "You took my mother. I'm coming for you." Jordan showed them the screen. "It's not over." Naomi stared at the message. "She has a brother." "Oh." Esther said slowly. "She had a son." Jordan's chest tightened. She had a child. Esther nodded. She told me once ... in a whisper. Said she'd planted seeds for a future revenge. I thought she meant me. Naomi's voice dropped. Then we need to find him before he finds us. 3 weeks later, back home, Jordan installed new security at the foundation. Naomi started digging through Mrs. Chen's old contacts. Esther met with detectives to reopen hidden records. One night, Naomi burst into Jordan's office. I found something. She placed a photo on the desk. A teenage boy, maybe 17. Sharp eyes, cold expression. His name is Leo Mays. Son raised in secrecy. Rumored to be gifted with technology and manipulation. Jordan stared at the image. If he's anything like them, he's already 10 steps ahead of us. Esther entered the room holding a letter. It was delivered to the house. No stamp, just this. Jordan opened it. Inside was a single sentence. You destroyed my family. Now I'll destroy yours. Jordan looked up. Prepare yourselves. The next battle has already begun. That night, the foundation's power flickered. Jordan, Naomi, Esther stood in the control room as alarms buzzed. Security breach, Naomi said, scanning the monitors. Someone's in the system. Esther pointed. Camera 3 front. Gate. A boy stood there, motionless. Hoodie up, face hidden, holding something in his hand. Naomi zoomed in. It was a childhood photo, Jordan and Naomi with their parents. A red X was scratched over each face. The power cut completely. Darkness. Emergency. Lights buzzed on. A voice crackled through the building's intercom. You can lock doors, build walls, hire guards, but I'm already inside. Jordan grabbed his phone. No signal, not Naomi whispered. He's hacking us in real time. Esther's voice trembled. He's not after revenge. He wants to destroy your legacy. The next morning, a safe house, the trio relocated to a hidden location. Naomi had prepared years ago. Jordan sat on the floor, head in his hands. He's turning the world against us. Our accounts are frozen. News outlets are receiving fake stories. He even accessed our medical records. Esther placed a hand on his shoulder. He's playing a long game, but he's alone. Or not. Naomi walked in with a file. I tracked the signal from last night. Came from an abandoned lab outside the city. Government shut it down a decade ago. Jordan stood. And that's where we go. That night, abandoned lab, the air was stale. Rusted doors groaned as they entered. Walls were lined with old photos, Jordan's face, Naomi's face, even Esther's notes, timelines. Arrows, a shrine of obsession, then a screen blinked on. Leo's face appeared. Young, calm, terrifying. You're too late. Behind them, the door slammed shut. Gas hissed from vents. Esther grabbed Jordan. Naomi smashed the glass with her elbow, unlocking a hidden exit. They escaped into the woods. Coughing, panicked, from a hilltop. Leo watched through binoculars. They're resourceful, he said softly. Good. That will make breaking them so much sweeter. He turned to the figure beside him. Girl, pale, quiet, her eyes emotionless. Leo smiled. Naomi froze. Esther, she whispered, eyes locked on the pale girl beside Leo. Is that Esther? Stepped forward, her breath shallow. Hope? The girl tilted her head, no recognition in her eyes. Leo stepped between them. She doesn't remember you. That's the point. I gave her a new purpose, perfection without guilt. She's everything you refuse to become. Esther's voice broke. She was just a baby when they took her. Leo smiled coldly. And now she's mine. Without warning, Hope moved fast. Precise. A blade grazed Jordan's arm before Naomi fired a warning shot into the air. Forcing her back, she's trained, Naomi muttered, helping Jordan to his feet. Esther's eyes filled with tears. No, she's brainwashed. Jordan clenched his jaw. Then we unbrainwash her. The next day, Hideout Jordan's wound was shallow, but his resolve wasn't. She hesitated, he said, pacing. She could have hurt me worse. Something's still in there. Some part of her. Naomi nodded. She's anything like you, Esther. She can come back, but not while Leo controls her. Esther opened a small tin. Inside were old childhood trinkets, 2 bracelets, a photo, and a lullaby music chip. This used to calm her down when she cried, she whispered. She hears it? Naomi nodded. Then we make her hear it. Later, at the underground, Galeo was hosting a secret auction, stolen tech, secrets, and control of the Chen estate. High-profile criminals filled the room. Naomi slipped through the crowd in disguise, headset crackling. I see Hope. Jordan, are you in position? Jordan stood backstage, holding a speaker device. Ready? Esther sat beside Leo, pretending to smile, pretending to belong. Leo leaned in. You returned to me willingly. I knew you would. Esther smiled tightly. I came for her. Before he could react, Jordan activated the speaker. The lullaby played. Hope paused mid-guard. Her hand trembled. Eyes blinked rapidly. Esther stood and walked toward her. It's me, your sister. Hope, do you remember this song? You used to hum it in your sleep. Hope clutched her head, shaking violently. No. Leo said you died. He said you betrayed me. I never stopped looking for you, Esther whispered, stepping closer. He lied to us both. Leo screamed, don't listen to her. Hope looked at Leo, then back at Esther, and she dropped the blade. Chaos erupted. Naomi took out the lights. Jordan secured the files. Police swarmed in seconds later, tipped off by Naomi. Beforehand, Leo tried to run. Hope stepped in his path. He reached for a weapon. But she struck his hand, disarming him. You used me, she said quietly. I remember now. Leo backed away. You need me. You're nothing without me. No, she said. I'm free. She turned away and the police took Leo down. Aftermath: 1 week later, Jordan lay in the hospital bed, recovering slowly. Hope sat beside him, silent but calmer. Esther entered with Naomi. Any change? Esther asked softly. Jordan opened his eyes. You're here. That's enough. Naomi smiled. Welcome back. Esther reached for Hope's hand. We've got a long road ahead, but we'll walk it together. Hope nodded. As sisters. Naomi looked out the window at the rising sun. The cycle is broken. And from here, we build something better. And in that moment, healing truly began. 6 months later, New Beginnings, the Chen Foundation, was gone. In its place stood the Haven Project, a center for rehabilitation, truth, and rebuilding. Survivors of exploitation, tech abuse, and family trauma came through its gates, seeking not just help, but hope. Esther sat in her office, sketching a new logo. Hope walked in, her movements still cautious, but her eyes brighter than before. You really think we can make a difference? Hope asked. Esther looked up, smiling gently. We already are. One life at a time. Naomi's lab. Naomi adjusted a holographic interface, finalizing security upgrades. Jordan leaned against the doorframe. So you're rebuilding the firewall? With Neuralink defense, she smirked. You say it like that's not light work for me. He chuckled, then grew serious. We couldn't have done any of this without you. Naomi looked at him. We couldn't have done this without each other. Jordan nodded. And Leo, her smile faded, still silent. But prison intel says he's been writing pages and pages. It's best with finding a flaw in the code. Jordan's expression hardened. If he resurfaces, we'll be ready. Naomi cut in. It's time we write the rules. Later. Garden Memorial Lay statues stood in the center of a quiet garden. 3 sisters holding hands, inscribed below. From silence, we rose. From pain, we healed together. Esther placed a single lily at the base. Hope joined her, whispering, I still dream of the compound, of being a weapon. You were never a weapon, Esther replied. You were a girl who deserved love. Hope exhaled. I want to speak to other survivors. Maybe help them find themselves too. Esther turned, pride in her eyes. Then let's create space for their stories. Final scene, the broadcast. Naomi adjusted the mic. Jordan stood behind the camera. Esther and Hope sat side by side. Esther began. For too long, secrets defined us. But today, we choose truth. Not as a weapon, but as a bridge. Hope continued. If you're out there, you feel lost, broken, manipulated, you're not alone. You're never alone again. Naomi smiled softly, blinking back tears. Jordan gave a thumbs up. The live stream went global and far away in a hidden facility. A shadowed figure turned from the screen, cracking knuckles. Another voice from the darkness asked, "Are they ready?" Figure grinned. They will be. A new threat was watching. But so was the world, and this time, the sisters were ready. 1 year later, the Haven Project had grown into an international network. Survivors found new purpose. Naomi lectured at universities, Hope led youth programs. Esther ran the trauma response unit. And Jordan, still recovering, had become a voice of public accountability. But peace was never permanent. Scene, secure facility, Geneva inside a cold steel-walled prison. A door opened with a hiss. Dr. Leo Chen stood, older now, but with the same cold fire in his eyes. A government agent handed him a file. We're activating Project R3B1 RTH. Leo's lip curled into a smile. My work, will finally live. Scene. Naomi's apartment, midnight. Naomi jolted awake. Her phone buzzed. Unknown contact, I'm not dead. You didn't finish it? Her blood ran cold. She stared at the screen. Then, another message. I want her back. Yomi Hope. Scene, Jordan's hospital room. Jordan lay hooked to cardiac monitoring. His recovery steady but slow. Esther sat beside him, reading. A nurse knocked. Miss Esther, there's a delivery for you. She opened a box. Inside, a vial of green fluid. A photograph of Hope, age 9. A note. The next generation is mine. Esther's face turned pale. She stood abruptly. We need Naomi now. Scene, Haven security room. Naomi replayed the footage over and over. A girl young, maybe 14, breaking into the Haven perimeter and stealing research files. Hope entered. Behind her, silent. Naomi turned. They cloned you, didn't they? Hope nodded slowly. I think she's my sister, not by blood. By blueprint. Meanwhile, somewhere underground, a new girl stood in a training ring, barefoot, ferocious. Ah. Voice over the speaker, designation, echo. She turned to the camera, deadpan. I'm ready. Jordan's breaths were shallow as the machines beeped steadily beside him. Naomi hadn't left his side in days. Her eyes were tired, her voice hoarse from whispering stories and memories. Into his ear, hoping something, anything would reach him. Then, on the 7th day, his fingers twitched. Naomi froze. Jordan. She whispered, leaning forward. His eyelids fluttered. The machine beeped a little faster. Then, slowly, his eyes opened. Naomi, double quotes. He rasped. Tears filled her eyes. She clutched his hand, pressing it to her cheek. You came back to me. She sobbed. I promised, he whispered. You kept it. He tried to smile, but his face winced in pain. It still hurts. I know, she said, brushing his hair gently. But you're here. That's all that matters. A knock sounded at the door. It opened slowly. Esther stepped in, her eyes red, but her face glowing with hope. Jordan, she said softly. He turned to her, eyes wide. You're here. She nodded. I never left. I saw you before I blacked out. You were holding my hand. I'll hold it as long as you'll let me. I thought you were gone, he whispered. I was ready to go, she said, stepping closer. But love pulled me back. And now it's pulling you too. He looked from her to Naomi. I'm sorry for everything. I don't deserve either. Of you. You don't have to earn love, Naomi said. Just have to hold on to it. Jordan closed his eyes, not in sleep, but in peace. Then I'm never letting go again. They sat together in silence, the storm behind them for now. Weeks passed. Jordan was slowly regaining his strength, though his heart still bore the damage, both physical and emotional. Esther visited him every day, never asking for forgiveness again, but showing it through presence, through care, through quiet love. One afternoon, Jordan stood wobbly but determined on the hospital rooftop, wrapped in a blanket. Naomi stood beside him, holding his arm. Below them, the city moved on cars' lights, people unaware of the war the three of them had survived. She wanted to own everything, Jordan said quietly. My life, my death, my name. But in the end, she died with nothing. Naomi looked at him, and you lived, with everything. He turned to her, because of you, and Esther. Esther walked toward them, holding a small wooden box. Inside was the key to a house one of the orphan homes Jordan had pledged to. Build with the family trust. Naomi had helped design it. Esther had helped fundraise. It was named the House of Second Chances. Jordan took the key. We rebuild, he said. Naomi smiled. We already are. They stood there, three souls, marked by betrayal and love, by loss and hope. Below them, children ran into the newly built house laughing. Above, the wind carried something soft and sweet like forgiveness. It's like a beginning. 6 months later, the House of Second Chances was full of life walls painted in warm tones. Laughter echoing through the halls. It wasn't just a shelter. It was a home. For the broken. For the lost. For anyone brave enough to start over. Jordan stood in the playroom helping a boy fix a broken toy truck. His once tired eyes now carried light. The scar on his chest ached sometimes, but it reminded him he had survived for a reason. Mr. Jordan, a small girl whispered, tugging his sleeve. Can you read us a story? He smiled. Only if you help me pick a good one. Across the room, Naomi organized donated books with a few teenagers. Her leadership was natural, gentle, but firm. She had become more than a sister. She was a pillar, a force of restoration. And outside, in the garden, Esther knelt beside the rose bushes. Her hands were dirty, her sleeves rolled. She had chosen to stain it because of guilt, but because of purpose. She hadn't just fallen in love with Jordan. She had fallen in love with the truth. Later that evening, the three of them sat on the porch steps, watching the sun dip low. Behind the rooftops. Think she'd hate this? Naomi said suddenly, her voice soft but steady. Mrs. Chen. Jordan asked. Naomi nodded. She'd hate how peaceful we are, Esther said with a small smile. How free. Jordan looked between them. She lived chasing control. We chose love. That's why we're still standing. A quiet breeze moved through the trees. In that stillness, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. They had built something the darkness couldn't touch, and this time it would last.